Hi, I'm Garth Cornwall. Thank you for the opportunity to share a little more about myself and for inviting me to participate in this next step of the process. I've taught science, technology, and careers at Portland Middle School for 17 years and completed my administrative certification program in 2016. To say education runs in the family is a bit of an understatement. My parents are retired teachers, and my mom served as a principal, superintendent, and a board member on both district and intermediate school boards. My sister, brother, many cousins, aunts, and uncles are in education in some way, shape, or form. My wife, Amanda, currently teaches third grade after spending a decade teaching middle school language arts. Creating a great educational experience for my son Calder, who's 10, and daughter Seneca, who's 8, have become added motivation. Education provides more than just a way to earn a living. It shapes me as a person. I look forward to transitioning from the classroom into administration. In preparing for this presentation, I looked back on my philosophy of education from my college portfolio. I believe every student has the right to learn and every teacher has the right to teach. I believe learning goes beyond the classroom. I believe all students can be successful provided they're receptive to proper and interesting instruction. I believe every student needs a positive role model. I believe extracurricular activities are vital to education. I'm impressed by my younger self. Now, with nearly 2 decades of experience to back these beliefs, I find they are even more relevant today. The combination of my clear, consistent vision, experience, and desire to make a difference has helped me to develop as an educator and prepared me to be an effective school leader. Being a professional brings philosophical beliefs into practical application. Given the public's experience with school, it's easy for everyone to feel like an expert. However, to me, being a professional means more than just making a living at a chosen vocation. Professional educators analyze students' needs and are competent to diagnose and prescribe options for educational success and significance. As a building principal, I long to support, encourage, and empower teachers to trust their training and experience. Additionally, being a professional means recognizing that our impact on students, families, and community goes beyond the classroom. Educators should be held to a higher standard, and professionals conduct themselves such that their impact on the world is positive. Personally, I think of being a professional as always trying to do what's right, being honest, trustworthy, and treating others as I would like to be treated. This past year, I had the privilege of serving as a member of our middle school's My Blissy PLC. While I've worked with several teams throughout my career, there were distinct differences that made this particular experience what I would define as a highly functioning team. First, we were given clearly defined objectives, which set the direction for each meeting throughout the year. Secondly, the team included members from different subject areas and roles within the school. We respected, and relied on the expertise of one another, which emboldened us to take risks, knowing other team members would be constructive with their criticism and supportive with their assistance. Finally, we were committed to completing tasks beyond our set meeting times. Having each member come prepared allowed us to make even more progress. All 4 of these things, clear objectives, mutual respect, a willingness to take risks, and going above and beyond, made this one of the most highly functioning teams I've known. While using data provides a snapshot of a school and its performance, data alone does not tell the whole story. Furthermore, data alone may not provide a single answer to identified concerns. The best way I know to use data is as a tool to help clarify where we've been and set a trajectory for where we'd like to be in the future. The vision of Clare Public Schools is that graduates are career and college ready. With this in mind, I looked at post-secondary outcomes on myschooldata.org and see, within 6 months of graduating, roughly 65% of Clare High School students enrolled in college for 2013-14 and 14-15. This positions Clare right near the state average and near the top of the RESD schools. If this is data that shows where we've been, I would certainly say we're on the right track and doing many things right, which is confirmed when looking at the same group of students' MME scores, which also hover around the state average. In my mind, that's the strength of Clare High School. Our students are doing well compared to their peers across the state. Unfortunately, there are aspects of this success that also reveal areas of weakness. First, I looked at the college remediation data for the same group of students and learned that nearly 1 in 4 students is enrolled in some type of remedial course at the college level. Using a conservative $250 per course estimate, CHS students are spending around $4,500 per year to master concepts available to them in high school classes. Continuing to do the things the way we have been is not enough for our students. It's costing them, literally. Secondly, this subset of data seems to reveal some discrepancies between student performance across a variety of subjects, which is something worth exploring. Thinking back, I recall feeling unprepared for the rigors and independent expectations college had in store. While this brief analysis demonstrates that CHS performs at an acceptable level, as a school leader, I would work to motivate staff and students to reach beyond average by elevating course offerings, seeking partnership with local colleges and universities, and inviting alumni to speak to our students about the realities of college coursework. Considering the college and career readiness data of CHS students, the role of technology is a key reason for the need to consistently improve. Nowadays, our students are no longer competing with students in the Claire Gladwin RESD for college acceptance, scholarships, or jobs. They're competing at a global level. Technology has enabled students access to anything in the world at their fingertips. It's made available an audience beyond the walls of the classroom and school. In K-12 education, we can no longer treat technology as an elective course, but rather we need to integrate technology as a part of every student's daily learning experience. However, technology is still a tool, and the learning we seek must go beyond the how of a device, app, website, or piece of software. Technology integration certainly poses new challenges for classroom management and student safety, yet I believe it also offers a deeper connection to and motivation for learning. By teaching our students how, when, and why to use technology, they'll be more prepared for life and learning in the 21st century. It's my personal goal as an educator to find and model ways to be a lifelong learner when it comes to technology. Just this week, I participated in a Google Certification Academy and will certainly use what I learned with staff, students, and families. As a school leader, I believe in providing teachers time and support for their own learning. Once they're more comfortable and open to becoming producers of digital content, they'll also become more willing and better equipped to help our students do the same. Some sage advice I received when starting my journey into administration was, take time getting to know the school, staff, students, and community. My first goal as principal would be to heed these wise words by building meaningful relationships, learning relevant history, and demonstrating, especially to staff, that I'm a man of my word. Of all essential elements required to move a team forward, a foundation of trust is paramount. Additionally, being as open and honest about upcoming changes and/or the reasons for these changes strengthens that foundation. As a new administrator, I will not have all the answers, and I'm confident that by casting a shared vision toward a common goal, we will find solutions to problems that arise. Another important component in implementing change is energizing others by finding specific successes to celebrate. I've had the privilege of working with a principal who embodied many of these qualities. Not only was he an effective leader, he was engaging and energetic and supported new ideas with sound reasoning and research. I think it was the ability to skillfully intervene when trouble arose that I learned the most from him. As a classroom teacher, I've had limited experience observing instruction, save for a few observations arranged by our IC team, which provided extremely beneficial. If possible, allowing teachers to observe and learn from one another is very powerful. From an administrative standpoint, I look for these three things. First, are students engaged in the classroom? Second, does the lesson connect to other lessons, to the real world? And finally, do the students know the goal for the lesson and how they will demonstrate that they've reached it? From any observation, I feel the more valuable piece of the process is the follow-up meeting with the teacher. This offers administrator and teacher two things I believe are key to improving instruction. First, it gives the teacher the chance to reflect on his or her methods and the student's learning. Secondly, it provides inroads for a broader conversation about teaching and learning and builds upon one of my firmly held beliefs that relationships are vital. My goal in observing instruction is to help teachers improve their craft, not cause fear or stress. Similarly, I want teachers to find value in this process and begin looking reflectively at multiple lessons, not just the ones I happen to observe. That will do more to transform teaching and leads to improved student learning. Observant instruction is one aspect of professional evaluation process. And as I stated earlier, it's my belief that ongoing discussion, reflection, and conversation about teaching and learning is an integral part of this work. I'm familiar with the 5 dimensions of teaching and learning, 5D+, which my current district has implemented as our evaluation tool. The bulk of my experience with this process has been as a classroom teacher. I appreciate the opportunity to consider my own practices in comparison to the examples given for each dimension: purpose, student engagement, curriculum and pedagogy, assessment for student learning, and classroom environment and culture. While evaluations tend to make teachers nervous, I see it as a necessary part of a checks and balances system. If there's a way to make it practical and useful for the teacher to reduce the pressure by maintaining the integrity of the tool, I consider that a win-win. When I first started at Portland Middle School, we had a very veteran, very vocal teaching staff. Fresh out of college, I was initially uncomfortable with their willingness to disagree so fiercely. While there were heated debates, there seemed to be an unspoken understanding that this disagreement was a way to challenge one another toward becoming better. Additionally, I recall that at the heart of those debates, the focus was on the students, not personal gain. There was a level of respect held for one another as fellow educators. From that veteran staff, I learned that schools certainly need to consider teachers' needs, but that as adults, we need to recognize that our primary focus should be on the students. Our job is to model professional behaviors and support one another, even when we disagree. A few years ago, I approached my principal about transforming my flipped classroom to a more blended learning model, and he was very supportive of this change. With the green light to purchase a classroom set of Chromebooks and other necessary equipment, I set to work restructuring lessons and incorporating technology goals into the science concept. A portion of the funds that were intended to be used for this purchase came from a school-wide fundraising effort. My principal felt that the purchase was justified since all 7th and 8th grade students passed through my science classroom each year and would therefore be using the technology. Before this came to fruition, a colleague disagreed with the purchase, feeling the money was being spent more specifically on a teacher than on students. One significant difference between this agreement and those I witnessed early in my career is the lack of open, clear, and collegial communication. I was never officially informed which colleagues spoke up and therefore never given the opportunity to find a better solution. Although I was frustrated by the change in plans, I made adjustments and continue to seek ways to integrate technology. 3 years ago, I made a commitment to try 20% projects with my middle school students. The premise is that students are given 20% of their time to work on something they personally find valuable. I reached a point where I felt my students needed something more and thought this might be a way for them to find it. To start each semester, students chose a project and established their goals and timelines. Students presented their plans to the student body in small groups as a way to build in some accountability. Each Friday, they had time to work on their projects. Some students created games, learned to cook, designed and sewed clothes, among other ideas. Near the end of the semester, students once again presented. They were assigned classrooms, and the rest of the student body attended these presentations along with parents and community members. Overall, the 20% project was successful in that some, but not all students, were invested in something they truly cared about. While there was some uncertainty from colleagues about the logistics of the presentations, my biggest takeaway was that students need more opportunities to take ownership of their learning. Thanks again for the opportunity to share this presentation with you and for inviting me to participate in the process of finding the next principal for Clare High School.